The third element of music I'd like to talk about is harmony. Harmony is the simultaneous playing of notes, sounding of notes that help support and enrich the character of a melody. In creating a harmony, we first play chords. Chords are those stack of simultaneously played notes that we hear, often played in a group of three, which we call a triad. And as time goes on, we actually add in more and more notes there. You get into jazz and modern music, and you have some pretty elaborate chords going on there. But the chord itself, again, is built of a triad, three notes. For instance, if I was to play a C major chord here, we have three notes. I'm going to play C, E, and G. So there they are again by themselves. C, E, G. If I play them together, you get the sound of a C major chord. So that's the support system that harmony creates for us as somebody is singing whatever melody above it. As a piece goes on, the progression of chords, or chord progression, as we refer to it, is the movement of one chord to the next to create a contour to go along with our melody that we're hearing. So again, you have that starting at a home base and moving away into more tense territory, and then back home to that safe kind of happy place, shall we say. We have some common ones that we come across in Western music. But before we talk about that, four main types of chords that you're going to hear throughout Western music and Western classical music are the major chord, like I was just playing, the minor chord, the diminished chord, and the augmented chord. The major chord, again, is kind of our default kind of home base. It's like we talk about with melodies, it's the happy sounding one. Minor chords have the darker kind of sad sound to them. Diminished are, I think of them as extra minor chords. They have a very unsettled, tense sound to them. Whenever you hear that, it has to go somewhere. There's some resolution that needs to be going on after that. Then if I go the other way, we have an augmented chord. I think of that as an extra major chord. Has a very questioning sound to it. I always hear a question mark. It's actually the sound that you hear when you watch a soap opera. The character storms out of the hall after a big argument. They stop and think of what they've done. That's an augmented chord. So again, we have a major chord, kind of the happy sounding chord, minor chord, the darker, sad sound, diminished is a very unsettled, tense sound that needs to be resolved. The augmented is that kind of ethereal, kind of questioning, where do we go now kind of chord. So listen for those and see where and when you can tell the difference between them. So in talking about and characterizing a harmony in a piece of music, we think of two fashions, basically, two ideas of it. We have our consonant variety and our dissonant variety. And as you go through a chord progression, you have a mixture of the two. Again, just like our melodies, to create a sense of tension and relaxation. So it starts out nice and consonant, and then you work your way away from home, get more dissonant, and it comes back and resolves back to that consonants that you started off with. So, for instance, a basic chord progression we have in Western music. That's my C chord, my starting chord. Going a little further from home there. Here's my dissonant chord, and then it's going to resolve back home to the root chord. So again, that's a quick example of a chord progression and how it works. It's what we call a 1-4-5 chord progression.